We'll pause the session by after the end of this webinar. So our tour guides for today will be Vences, and Vences is our Chief Operating Officer at DQ India. Along with Vences, we will have Padmavati, who is our Senior Quality Engineer at DQ India, who will walk us through the entire presentation. With that, over to you, Vences and Padmavati, and all the best.
Thank you, Abhin. Thank you so much. And welcome all to AxeLinter. So AxeLinter is our product. And before I get into what exactly is AxeLinter, we'll see what is linter. Okay, so many of you may be already using a different kind of linter like PyLint, okay, or there are other EXLint. So other products which are there, probably you might have already used a linter. Okay, so what is a linter? So lint or a linter is a static code analysis tool used to flag programming errors, bugs, stylistic errors, and suspicious construct. Okay, that's what Wikipedia says. Okay, but and another analogy will be what a spell checker is for Word. Okay, similar way AxeLinter is for your code, your source code. Okay, so so as you're writing the code, okay, the linter can actually look at your source code and flag out errors. Okay, so that's what a linter will do. So what is AxeLinter? Okay, so AxeLinter actually looks at accessibility related issues in your source code. So even as you're writing a code or developing an application, okay, so the linter tool, the AxeLinter tool, can actually look at your source code and immediately flag out issues. So that means you don't have to wait for the entire development to be completed, okay, or the application to be written. And then generally what you do is when you want to flag any accessibility related issues, you develop your application and probably run an Axe tool, okay, like Axe Expert or any other tool that you may have to check the code, and not just the code but the rendered page, and then flag the issues. Okay, so most of the tools that we use today actually will look at the rendered code, that is, it is rendered on the browser. So you go to a web page and you the page is rendered. That is when other tools will start looking into the code and let you know, that is, you're looking at your DOM object and let you know whether any accessibility issues are there. Okay, but AxeLinter does things much earlier than that. So even as you're writing your code, it can look into your code and flag out issues in your code. Okay, so that's the best part. So it is more like shifting left. So instead of trying to find issues after your development is done, okay, you find issues even as you are writing your code. So AxeLinter, though we are saying AxeLinter, it is not a single product. Okay, there are three different products in this. One is AxeLinter for VS Code, which is a free extension that you can use in our even today. You can just go to VS Code and just install this plugin and start using it. Okay, I will also walk you through that so that you have an idea about how to use this tool. We have AxeLinter for GitHub. Okay, so this is when you're writing a code and you do a code check-in and you want to have accessibility check right when you're doing this code check-in, then GitHub, AxeLinter for GitHub can actually help you over there. And AxeLinter Server, this is more used by the product managers or product owners and other management. They want to check your metrics. They want to see how overall how the team is performing when it comes to accessibility. And also when you look at this in your Sonar Cube, you're able to look at not just the other issues which are there in the application, but even accessibility issues are in par with other applications. So there is no bias in terms of not looking at accessibility. Sonar Cube doesn't look at that, but with this plugin, you're able to look at even accessibility issues as one of the main issues that you want to monitor or have metrics around it. So what are the features of AxeLinter? Okay, so AxeLinter is very consistent with AxeScore. AxeScore is our main library which is used for accessibility checks for your pages. So it is very consistent with that. So you don't have any false positives. Okay, so what issues are reported by Axe Linter, you can take it for granted that it is an issue. And there is a multi-language support. So if you're coding using HTML or React, or TypeScript or Markdown or Vue, you can still use Axe Linter, and it can look into your code and flag issues irrespective of what language you're using. And I mean the supported languages. It can also look into your code, understand your code, and raise some concerns if there are any issues. Okay, it will also can give you suggested fixes. Now, these two things, the last two items what I mentioned, it is still in early development. You may not be able to see in the current release that we have, but you'll see that soon later this year. Okay. Okay, so typically the process for your front-end development, especially because we are talking about the front-end development here. So you have a designer who's coming up with design. Today we are also building a product around this for the designers. Okay, we don't have that yet, but we are building a product for that that is still in development. But once the designer comes with the design, okay, the front-end developers start building the particular UI. Okay, whether using React or pure HTML or Vue, so they can start building the UI, okay? And they do the code check-in. Senior developers who are there in the team, they review the code, okay? And once they review the code, they can either accept your check-in or they can reject it, okay? So your pull request, basically. So and then comes your metrics around all the code which is checked in. That can be viewed in your Sonar Cube. You can see the overall dashboard in terms of how we have performed overall, whatever the code that has been checked in. It can do an analysis and we can report out. Okay, so probably you may be using Sonar Cube, I'm not sure. Okay, but I'll definitely talk about that. You'll get a little idea about what you can see over there. But more focus will be on the first two personas which are there, the front-end developer and the senior developer who will be reviewing the code, and how Axe Linter can help each of these personas to do the accessibility checks. So now I'll give you a practical view of how Axe Linter actually works. So we will open up Visual Studio, Visual Studio Code and VS Code, and we'll install Axe Linter, and we'll see how it can help us. So let me quickly shift to VS Code. So I have VS Code over here open, and you may see that there is some sample code over here, and it doesn't look like there are any issues in this. And let's open up Axe Linter for now. Let's install that. So, okay, so we have Axe Linter here. And so one thing you can see here in Axe Linter, before I install, I want to give you a little more introduction to what you can find over here. One is that you can see that it's been we have recently released Axe Linter. We already have more than 6,000 plus, 6,500 plus users who have downloaded and started using it. Okay, we have all the features what is supported in Axe Linter listed out over here. And very important that you may want to know is what are the rules which are supported by Axe Linter. Okay, so you can actually see the common rules which are supported over here. This is definitely a subset of what Axe Core would probably do. Because we are looking at only at the source code and not the rendered page. Okay, so the issues that we look at will be limited. So this is a subset of issues that Axe Core will probably look into. And you can see what is supported for each of these languages, or if I'm using our frameworks, Vue, React. Okay, so you can actually see what is supported and what is not supported over here. So in case if you have any questions about that, please look at this particular page and you'll get a very good view of what Axe Linter can do. Okay. So now let me install this. Okay, so I've completed installation. So let me go back to my page, and you can see the moment I open the page, you can see that there are some errors which are being reported out. Okay, so the Axe Linter is immediately looked into your code and it's able to flag out issues saying that, hey, you know what, here we have a div tag which is there and a role is specified, but this role is not a valid role. Okay, so
Sorry, any chance you can zoom this a little bit? Because it might be a little small for some.
okay, let me.
From view, I think.
Is that better?
Yeah, better. Yes. Thank you.
Okay. So, okay, so now we can see this wriggle line, which shows that there is an issue with the particular code. Okay, and now what also happens is not just shows that there is an error over here or there's an issue over here, but it'll also tell you what is the problem. Okay, so you can see AxLinter, it says ensures all elements with a rule attribute use a valid value. Okay, so right now I'm using a role here and I'm saying 1, which is not a valid ARIA role. So I should use a valid role. So if I use a valid role, then this particular problem will go away. So let me use a valid role, say alert. Okay, now you can see that that issue has gone now. Okay, now what else can also happen is, so the same problem is over here, and you can also find that not only am I getting suggestion over here or telling me what the problem is, it is also giving me a link. So this actually links you to DQ University. Okay, and I can actually go there to that page. Okay, and I have a detailed description about what this particular problem is and how I can actually fix it. Okay, so this is the benefit of actually using AxLinter. It gives you complete detailed view of what the problem is and how we can fix it. And also it provides you the links where you'll have more knowledge in terms of what the problem is. Okay, so you can it's a good education also for us to read and understand the problem. Okay, so now I'll probably just put your alert or say, let's, for example, I'm saying here it's I'm having a checkbox, but this is again giving me a problem. So what is the problem? Let me see. The role is, it's a valid role over here. It also has a valid ARIA checked saying it's false. So, but still there is a problem. Okay. Now I can actually look at that and I know that there is a problem with, ARIA toggle field has an accessibility name. So let me go here and say, and give the okay. So now I'm able to fix it over here by looking into the help. Okay, so similar way we can go and actually go and fix all these other issues also what it is reporting out. So I'll not get into each and every detail, but you can probably get an idea in terms of how an AxLinter works. So it can actually help you even as you're coding. So it can look into your code right then and immediately give you a suggestion in terms of what the problem is and how to fix a particular problem. Okay, we are actually building another feature where it will also give you a what do you call it, can replace with the code. So it will actually give you code suggestion. So you can actually select that and and click on that particular code suggestion and it will replace with the valid code. Okay, so that is something that we are still working on. It's not yet there, but that is something now you can probably look forward for in this year, sometime in this year. Okay, so this is what AxLinter does, but this one is only the VS Code version of how we can implement or use AxLinter. Next, we'll see how we can use AxLinter in GitHub. Okay. Okay. So AxLinter GitHub is actually an application where you can go to GitHub and you can install this particular application. My colleague Padma will actually demo you of how you can use this for reviewing the code. So what we've seen earlier is as you're writing code, Okay, how we can avoid accessibility errors. We've seen that. Next, what we'll see is how we can actually reject the code. Okay, if you find an accessibility issue, the time of code reviews. So whenever somebody raises a pull request, so a developer, a front-end developer, he raises a pull request, the senior developer will review it and probably reject the code or probably accept the code, depending upon whether there are accessibility issues or not. Padma, over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Vences. Here, how Vences shown VS Code linter installation. Similarly, here, Vences, can you just open that slide? Yes.
Okay, sorry.
Just you need to log in into your GitHub account and then just go to marketplace. You just search for Axelinter, then it will give you this kind of thing, and then you can set up a plan. Here we are offering like free version for 1 month. Then you just select that free version, then just go to your repo. Share my screen. For example, this is your repo, and then whatever you wanted to check in as your file, then just go to your location and just write up a new file, then commit your changes. And if you see your pull request, then if there is any checks fails, so here Axelinter is working here. In that checks, whatever the check is failing, it will show you a lint errors. 62 lint errors were there. So what will be the lint errors it is showing? Then you can go and check the details of the linting errors. Here in focusable tab index style failing. So you can go to the failure, and also it is providing a help. If you go and see the help URL, DQ University providing you suggestions and fix how to fix that problem. Then you can get to know how to fix that, and again you can go and check your code again back. Then you will get resolved from your code checking failures. Like this, Axelinter GitHub app is working similar to VS Code linter, but this is like after your code check-in and when you raise a pull request within the checks itself, you can come to know before rejecting your code. And VS Code linter, it is like while editing your code itself, you can come to know the accessibility linting errors. This is how linter GitHub app works.
Thanks, Padma.
Yeah. Stop.
Okay. So we have seen how Axelinter for VS Code works, and we also seen how the GitHub works, and we know what are the rules which are there, who will be using that. So Axelinter VS Code will be used by the front-end developers, and the GitHub plugin is used by the senior developers who are actually reviewing the code, and they can look at that and either accept or reject the pull request. Next is okay. So this is what we've seen just now in GitHub. I'll move on. So this is Linter for SonarQube. Okay, this is most of the enterprise will like to use this particular product. I'll just tell you how this product works. I will not be able to demo the product over here. We still have to set up the environment. We just had the GA release just on Friday. Okay, on Friday we had the GA release, the general availability. So we are trying to set up for the demo. So I'll probably have a more detailed demo later on in terms of how this particular component or the Axe server actually works. Okay, but I'll walk you through in terms of how the architecture is, so that get a view in terms of how you can integrate that with your SonarQube and what you can actually view over there. Okay, so you see over here is that the code repository. So your current code repository, what you have. So whenever the code is committed, now that your Jenkins server will pick it up, and then the Sonar, it will actually trigger the SonarQube for your regular analysis for all the code scanning that has to be done. And as well as you can see that, it has a SonarQube connector, which will actually, it will update. It has a GIF file, GIF, the general integration file format, which is used by SonarQube. It will generate the particular file based on the analysis of the code, and SonarQube can pick it up from here and update into its dashboard. Okay, so you have code check-in, the CI server picks it up and triggers the regular SonarQube code scanner, as well as Axe Linter service for SonarQube, and Axe Linter service will generate a GIF file and update your SonarQube. Okay, so that is what exactly happens over here. Now, once we do that, when you go to your SonarQube, you'll be able to see the dashboard with all the issues which are there, and then you can actually, look at the bugs over here and see, okay, there are some bugs. Let me look at what the bugs are. So you click on the bugs, and then you'll actually be able to view all the bugs. This is your regular SonarQube dashboard. Okay, so there's nothing new from Axe Linter perspective. But what changes over here is, once they come to this particular page where they can list all the bugs, they can actually put a filter on this, okay, and see what is the Axe. The filter is over here on the left hand side in the bottom, Axe. Okay, and at the moment I put in over there the filter, I'll be able to see accessibility related issues. So this is where I'll find that, like your regular issues, what you find in SonarQube, now even accessibility issues are also visible in SonarQube. And once you look at that issue, you can drill down further and even look at the source code of that, where exactly the code which is generating the particular bug or the problem, and you'll be able to review that. And you should be able to go to your, again, the link to your DQ University, where it will describe what that issue is and how to fix a particular issue. It will have the complete details, so you can go and fix a particular issue over there. Okay, so that is how Axe Linter server for SonarQube works. Okay, I hope you had some brief understanding about how Axe Linter for VS Code, Axe Linter for GitHub, and Axe Linter for SonarQube works. Okay. I do not plan to go into details of the code. I've already showed you some code examples, but if there are any specific questions, you can please ask us now, and we can probably respond to that.
We have a few queries in chat box.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let us go ahead and start with the first one that we got. The first question is how this plugin is useful from QA perspective, typically QA automation.
Okay. This particular plugin, when you say this plugin, you're talking about for VS Code. I hope you're talking about for VS Code. If you're talking about VS Code, it is more for the developer. Okay, automation engineers will actually use more of either the extension, that Axe extension, or they may use Axe CLI or API for automation. Okay, but this plugin is more for the developer. When the developer is writing the code, that's when they can actually see the issues. In case if the automation engineers are also doing something similar to that on the IDE, then they'll be able to, these issues can be flagged much earlier. Okay, and they can go and fix the problem. One more thing can also happen is, if they want some help in terms of how to fix that issue, that is also help is provided. So that way also it is very useful for engineers.
Great. The second question is Angular supported?
At this point of time, Angular is not supported. In the future release, you can expect that. It is, I can say it's, we are actually started work on that, but it's not yet available.
Yeah. Great, thank you. The third question is, does it support JSP JavaScript?
No.
Can we get it for ELM plus Elixir?
Right now, no.
One thing I wanted to clarify here, Abhin, as
Yeah.
it is a like static analysis tool, it is working now only on static pages where we were working, HTML, React components, React pages like JSX and TSX, and Markdown files and GUI files.
Yes. So in case if you are looking for something which is once a page is rendered, then that is when you actually use the other products which we have, that is a CLI and API, which are also available for you. For you can download and start using that. Okay, and or even you can use a plugin which is freely available. Anybody can use that. Of course, VS Code plugin also is free. You can use that for source static code analysis.
Great, thank you. One interesting question is, does this handle typos as well?
Yes.
Awesome. The next question is, can the tool be used as an automated quality gate in DevOps? Example, perform automatic check as a part of pull request.
Yes, that is where the GitHub plugin comes. So you can have it even as the pull request is created, automatically it will actually review your code and give you throw up all the accessibility related issues.
Right. Great. The one more question we've got is, does it work in Azure DevOps?
Yes, it can be. You can when you see as a DevOps guy, I can have my CI/CD pipeline in either in AWS or Azure, so that doesn't matter. It will work.
Right. The next question is, does it work for enterprise GitHub?
Yes, it will work.
Yes.
Awesome. Does it work for AWS code commit?
For AWS code commit,
SonarQube.
yes, SonarQube can, but I cannot confirm that right now. I've been on this. Probably we need to check that, because this is, as I told you, that this is generally available only in the last Friday. It is released. We are still testing it on different platforms. Probably I can reconfirm this. Probably we can respond to this person by email.
Sure. Great. I have a few more questions. Is it open source? If we can address that quickly.
No, Linter is not open source right now.
Okay, great.
Whereas our Axe core is open source, so that is the main core engine which we have for accessibility. So that is open source, but Axe Linter at this point is not open source.
Correct. A very, very expected question. How many guidelines does it cover? Does it check for WCAG 2.1?
Yes, so the guidelines, as I showed earlier in Axe VS Code, you can when you go to the plugin, you can see all the list of the things. So it's a comprehensive list. Everything that is supported in Axe Linter, you will find it over there. Okay, so I'm not sure if anybody has missed that. Let me quickly show that once again. Avin, my screen is visible?
Yes.
Okay. So when I go to my extensions, okay, you can see all the rules which are available, supported is listed out here. So with examples, you have all the rules listed out, and you can see what are the WCAG standards which is supported also.
Awesome. Great. I think that answers a few more questions which was followed up around WCAG. Is the SonarQube integration already available now?
Yes, it is available now.
Right. Great. we will quickly move into the Q&A section. We have a few more questions there. One question there is, how do I get screen reader option from Axlinter?
I didn't understand that. Aparna, did you get that?
Not really, Ventus. Can you repeat that question again, Abin?
It says, how do I get screen reader options from Axlinter?
Okay, I don't think that's possible because screen reader, if we are looking at the screen reader compatibility with Axlinter, that depends on the environment in which we are using. Like, is it a Visual Studio? What exactly is the environment? But if you're looking to identify issues from screen reader via Axlinter, that may not be possible.
Right. Thank you, Aparna.
The next question is, how can it be integrated with Azure DevOps? I think we just answered that. Right. How well this plug and play with SPA like Amber? Do you have a clue on this?
Sorry, I didn't get it. What is that?
How well this plugs in basically with SPA like Ember?
Oh, so the single page apps. Okay. Yes, it will do that. But because it's not about whether you're having a single page app or any other architecture that you are using, it is more to do with your code. So it can look into your code and it will support that. So if you're writing it in React.js, for example, it can flag out issues.
Great.
Okay.
I think the same. Another follow-up question is, how well does it plug in with dynamic component rendering?
Okay. So this is actually, as I said, it's a static code analysis. So it means it looks into your code, not your dynamic part of it. So that is not covered. But what happens is your dynamic behavior can be based on your code that you write. Okay, so that way it will actually help you. But as I mentioned earlier, if you want to look at your dynamic code, you have to use Axe plugin, or you have to use Axe CLI or API for that. Okay, but this is more for your static code analysis.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Do we have options to control to scan only level A or level AA?
Okay, so Padma, you have any idea about this?
Yes, we can configure. I'll just share the screen.
Yeah. For Axe GitHub, I know there is a configuration. Okay, yes, even in here you can actually configure
Yeah,
it.
you can.
Yes, I'm sorry. Yes, you can configure that. Even for VS Code, we can do the configuration.
Stop. Ventus, can you stop sharing your screen?
Sure. Okay. So we can keep moving to the next question. She will, by the time, share the screen and show us the screen.
Yep. Does it help in testing also? Pretty standard question.
Yes.
Right.
It is.
There are many aspects to improve this product in terms of 503 compliance, screen reader perspective, filtering, etc.
Yes, I agree that there are a lot of improvements that we need to make. This is the first release that we have, and based on your feedback, please give us the feedback, and we will definitely improve on this.
Do we have a list of rules supported anywhere publicly?
Yes, I just showed that. You can go to VS Code, go to the plugins extensions, and you can look at the Axlinter. In fact, there you have the complete list.
Correct. The other question is, sometimes developers write patch codes in HTML. How much percentage of accessibility errors can be identified in this scenario?
Percentage wise, it's very difficult to say that. We still have to, we do analysis on that. So we don't have enough data to actually tell the exact percentage. Like for example, other components that we have, other products we have, we know the percentage, but for Axlinter at this point, we do not have that number. But definitely it is not going to be as much as the other products, because this is only looking at the source code and not the rendered page.
Thank you so much. The next question is, when using VS Code extension, how can I manually trigger linting checks across my repo? Is there a CLI command?
Okay. So when you're using VS Code, it'll actually look into the pages that you already have open and it can flag out issues. But in your repo, then you have to use the GitHub plugin in order to do that. So it can look into all your pages and immediately flag out the issues. And also it's very fast. It does around 40 pages or 40 files in a second. That's at which rate at which it linter works.
Right. I think the next question is around any roadmap items for others web IDEs like Sublime and WebStorm.
Yes, WebStorm is there in pipeline. We also have, I think, IntelliJ. We will be supporting that in the future. I don't think Sublime is there right now. It's, yeah.
Right. I think the other question is, does it support Flutter code?
No.
Right. We are working on it.
Yes.
Yeah. Other than Visual Studio, in which tool can I use linter?
As I told you just now, so at this point of time, it is Visual Studio, but we'll have Storm as well as IntelliJ supported in the future.
Correct. Will it work for apps or just web?
It works for web at this point of time. But if you're developing apps and if you're using JavaScript or any of this technology, what I mentioned, yes, it will do that.
What coverage of accessibility tests this tool can provide? Does it use accessibility tree capabilities?
About this accessibility tree, you can answer that, but from in terms of percentage, I already answered that we don't have enough data at this point of time to mention the percentage, but it's a subset, actually a subset of what Axe4 can do, okay, because looking at the source code.
Right. And I think from the coverage perspective, obviously we've just shown that it covers what areas it covers out of the WCAG coverage
Yes.
as well. So that's addressed there.
Yeah. I think anything that Axe-Core kind of covers, Axlinter covers as well. So it would be safe to say 30% of the automation issues would still be covered as part of the Axlinter too.
Right. So I think that benchmark is now typically 50%. So
yes,
number of issues.
54%.
Yes.
Probably, yeah.
Right. And then we have one question, which is Axe-Core seems to have a lot of issue. GitHub, do we have a stable version? So I think this is Vences may be referring to the GitHub version that we had earlier.
Okay.
I think the one which we took out.
Yes, we discontinued that, and now we have a latest version.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Babandeep, I think you should be able to see the latest version to be a much stabler version now. We have another question. Does Axe provide any certificate for WCAG compliance?
No.
No, we don't. Yeah. And then we have a few more questions. Let me pick this up from here where it says, does it have auto-fix functionality such that we can put the command in the pre-commit hooks?
Auto-fix is not there. It can it can only tell you what the issues are and how, and it will give you the recommendation, but there is no auto-fix.
Right. The other question is, can we find issues using this tool in iOS and Android code?
as we already listed out what are the languages which are supported. Apart from that, it does not support any other language. But if you're using this for your iOS, if you're, for example, you're writing a React app for iOS, yes, you can do that.
Right. Any CLI command to trigger all axlint error check like ESLint?
No, at this point, we don't have that, but we'll probably be providing you.
Right. Then the other question I have is, I think, does it support the semantic error as well?
Sorry, Bin, can you repeat that, please?
Does it support semantic error as well?
Yes, it does.
Actually, it is like inbuilt ESLinter is also supporting AxLinter, so that ESLint, whatever it is semantic errors showing up, those at all AxLinter also will give you alerts.
Right. The other question is autofix in the plugin roadmap?
Yes, we'll not do autofix because autofix will be creating a lot more problems because you'll not even know what fixes have gone through. As a developer, I'm saying if we have to do that, but yes, it can highlight these issues and it will give you code suggestion and you can actually replace the code with the latest code. So that option will be there. My understanding is when you're talking about autofix, you're writing a code and you find a bug and it'll automatically go and fix it. Okay. So what I'm saying is we'll provide you suggestion. It will give you a code snippet there right there, and you can look at the code snippet and you can accept that and it will go and replace it. So that is what we're building right now. It will not automatically replace your code.
Yes. It will give you suggestions from DQ University.
Great. The other question is, since the GitHub Marketplace app says personal/open source, can it be used in enterprise GitHub repos? So before, I think the simple answer to that is because it says personal and open source, it is not meant for enterprise integration. But Vences, if you want to add a little bit more to that.
Sorry, Abhin, could not hear that.
That the question says, since the GitHub Marketplace app says personal, open source, can it be used in enterprise GitHub repos?
Yes, it can be used because we do have both versions, both free as well as enterprise version we do have.
Right. Okay. And then we have one more question. What are the charges after the 1 month trial version?
I think that will it should show up. Abhin, right now, I think I'm not in a position to tell the pricing,
right.
But I think we can.
Correct. So I think anyone who's interested about the pricing in details, please reach out to us. And we should be able to talk about it. There are a few factors that determine the pricing, so we would want to discuss on that. Great. Okay. I think these are all the questions that we had. We've tried to cover most of it. Great. All right. Yeah. So that's all we have. And, Vences, if you want to kind of just showcase quickly your email address, and Padma, your email address
sure.
On the slide deck.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you so much for your time. And I think very good questions. Thank you so much.
Right. So in case anyone wants to reach out, you can reach out to Vences, WENCES @dq.com or Padmavati, PADMAVATHI.V @dq.com for any of your questions. Yeah, we will also share the recording, and thank you everyone for your participation today. Thank you.